Hey guys, this is Jonathan McCormack. I'm an attachment specialist in New York, and you can find me at attachmenthealinghelp.com. I appreciate you guys listening to my video and the feedback you've given me. I'd like to talk about intimacy and the different types of intimacy. What I do is about attachment. Oftentimes in relationships, you're not reacting from your true self, your best self. It's almost like a small part of you, a wounded child part, is reacting. And it's pretty hard to have a relationship if that's happening. Indeed, you're not loving freely. You're being compelled by a past wound. Once you fix that, then you have to learn about how to speak to each other, relationship skills. That's kind of what other people do. But I do the attachment piece, kind of heal those wounds. So the first thing, and there's a bunch of types of intimacy, but the first thing to say is that love and compulsion can't exist. Love is a willingness, an ability to be affected by another human being, to allow that effort to make difference in what you say, do, and become. Compulsion is more about the act of wrapping yourselves in some kind of activity or a person just to survive. You use this person to tolerate, to numb yourself. Perhaps you have low self-esteem, you feel like an insect. I mean, it's common. And this is the person that's going to save you from yourself. You're going to be compelled to act a certain way. You're not going to be acting out of your true, authentic self, if that's the case. Because the thing is, love, it really is a state of connectedness. It has to include vulnerability, surrender, and being able to face the worst of ourselves. That's very difficult, of course. We're terrified of this, letting another person know our terrible secrets. It's funny because they're all the same. I mean, I've talked to so many people. I'll make a big prediction. You are afraid that somewhere deep inside, you're unlovable, or no one's going to stay with you. And you're going to get into this relationship and just find that out. You suspect it, but boy, what if you know it? That'd destroy you. And the reason is because your mind's attaching a meaning to that. If someone loves me, that means I'm worthwhile. Or I'm validated as a human being. But of course, that's just a meaning your mind attaches to it. It doesn't have to mean anything at all, And when you're acting from compulsion, you're actually acting from a state of isolation, the state of invulnerability. This happens with love avoidance. I think most of us have been there. Is when we're acting from compulsion, we're acting in such a way that this person cannot hurt us, no matter what they do, what they say, because the real me is hidden behind so many defenses that they will just never get in. They can say this, they can poke that, they can insult me. I'm bulletproof, because they're nowhere near my heart, That's fine, but you're going to go through life numbed. It's very difficult to get over that. So basically, love expands, compulsion diminishes. But I've been thinking about how that shows up in different attachment styles. Vivi Francis is a poet I like. She just came out with something, I think it was this year, and I thought it was illustrative of what I'm talking about. It's called, I've Been Thinking About Love Again. I've been thinking about love again. Those who live to have it, and those who live to give it. Of course, there are those for whom both are true, but never in the same measure. Those who have it to give are like cardinals in the snow, so easy and beautifully lit. Some are rabbits, hard to see, except for those who would prey upon them. All that softness and quaking and blood. Those who want it cannot be satisfied. eagle-eyed, and such talons, any furt thing will do. So easy to rip out a heart when it's throbbing so hard. I wander out into winter. I know what I am. And I was thinking about that because if you're not secure, it will never be enough. You'll never be satisfied. This person can tell you they love you a million times. They can prove it again and again and again. You'll never feel good about yourself. And it's a bottomless pit. And you try to feed it and feed it. And it's just never full, you know. You never feel real. You never feel validated. And when you go out, you're almost just devouring people. So let me talk about the different types of intimacy. There are several. People probably think, well, there's sex and you talk. There's a lot, though. There's a lot. And the person you find may only have a few. But it's about the quality of connection. They can be just as erotic and fulfilling. For instance, there's the aesthetic intimacy. That sharing experience of beauty. Sharing music, nature, art. When both of you can appreciate the same beauty, connected. That's the way to connect to someone, There is intellectual intimacy, the world of ideas, a respect for each person, reading, discussing. That's something. There's common intimacy. And that's just togetherness derived from dedication to a common cause. It could be anything. I know people that are really into fighting global warming or a political agenda or whatever it is, or both of you are in it towards something bigger than yourselves. So when you die, you will leave a legacy, some kind of legacy, something that you touch lives that will continue in the future. There's work intimacy, sharing common tasks. And that actually is, I know it's not sexy, but those are the little things that make things up, the little family chores, cooking together, cleaning together, and things like that. Just those little bonding aspects, There's communication intimacy, being honest, trusting, truthful, loving. Doesn't that feel good when someone even when you're being criticized, but it's from a place of real love, and you could tell, it's oh, this person really cares about me. Just that can feed the heart. There's crisis intimacy, and that's when you're kind of standing together in the tragedies of life. I remember someone told me that we knew a family, a guy and his 2 daughters. He's like, boy, they're so close. I wish I had a family like that. And boy, every time I saw them, they're always fighting each other. And then one day, one of the daughters got in trouble. And you should have seen, the father, the other sister, they just came to her rescue, held her, was defending her relentlessly. And it was that, this little, even though they fought each other, a lot of conflicts, when the cards were down, they were for each other. They had each other's back, unconditionally. And that's kind of the crisis intimacy. There's, of course, sexual intimacy, satisfaction, and being self-abandoned. One of the things that's important in sexual intimacy is fun. The adult version of play. That's how we play. We flirt. And when you don't have someone to flirt and joke around with, we're kind of trapped in our own heads. I know so many divorced men ask, what do you miss most? You think they're going to say sex. I think they miss most a lot of times is making their wives laugh. Just seeing their smile. It meant so much to them. And in the bedroom, just being playful, tickling each other, having fun. And the truth is the female sex drive runs on intimacy. And it's dependent upon emotional security. That's what it's dependent upon. And the slightest little thing can throw it off. So many men are frustrated. That's a litmus test, how close are you? And there's plenty of people, I'm not perfect, plenty of people, it's really hard to maintain that emotional intimacy. And that's going to show up there, Just to give you an idea, I remember I was with this couple, and they're talking about their sex life, and I said, well, okay, a scale 1 to 10, how was it last night? And the guy goes, 10. Oh, it was great. Asked his wife. His wife said, like, a 2. I was like, oh, geez, that ain't good. You know? He was, like, baffled. Like, what? It was so good. And, you know, but I said, like, well, what was going through your head? Asked the guy. You know, what was going through your head? You know, she's getting ready. You see her in the bathroom. And he goes, oh, well, you know, I was thinking, boy, first of all, I love my wife's skin. She has such beautiful skin. And how blessed I am to have a beautiful woman. I was thinking how lucky I am that she's a good mother. She just put down her daughter, and that was lovely. I was just thinking how blessed I am. Before he even finished the sentence, like she almost like jumped on him. It was like, 10, it was a 10. Wait, how was it a 2 a couple minutes ago, and then sex was a 10? Because the meaning was different, you know. Before, he just came up behind her, and now she's like, whoa, all these thoughts, he loved me, you know. What was the difference was the meaning, the intimacy. And of course, you know, how many of us tell our partners how much we love them. And the whole red pill philosophy, it's like, oh, no, don't let your girl know that. You should never let her know that you love her. Oh, that's gonna weakness and giving away your power, you know. Okay, good luck with that, buddy. There's emotional intimacy, sharing your feelings and touching your innermost selves. And this is tough. I know. I mentioned this, and guys are like, no, you don't want to tell your girl your problems. There's some truth to that. In California, all the therapists are like, yeah, you want to open up. You want to, you know, be honest. All your issues, all your problems. In California, it's like the #1 divorce rate. Like, do not listen to people from California. You want to let your girl in, but it's true. You know, like she'll say, what's going on in your mind? What are you worried about? What are you worried about? I want to know. I want to know what's inside of you. And the guy will be like, okay. Well, first of all, I'm worried that I'm going bald. Yeah, I'm losing my hair, and I think I'm getting older, and, you know, I really don't know what's going on in my job, and I'm terrified of meeting this guy Tuesday. I mean, terrified of this guy. And sometimes I do wonder, I don't have a 401k. Am I going to make it? I really don't know. Sometimes in the bathroom, I'm so scared. I don't even want to leave the house to go to work. And then, boom, and she's gone. You know, she's like, well, I don't want to deal with that, you know. So, yeah, you don't want to throw your problems on your girl, okay? There's a way to do this, though. I mean, the way to do it is to let her in, because she wants to know what's going on with you. And so you can do that. You can simply say, you know, honey, I'm having a problem at work. I have a plan. But I want to get your feedback. So all of a sudden you let her know that you do have a plan. And you let her know that you are taking responsibility, you know. Because what if she gives you advice, you do it, and it doesn't turn out well? You know, this is very, boy. But, you know, you let her know, like, I'm just looking for feedback. And that way you kind of open up and let her in. You don't have to, like, pour out all your problems, you know. There's a creative intimacy. That's helping each other grow. You know, to be co-creators of each other. You know, I mean, we're all becoming something. Conflict, intimacy. And that's important because sometimes you have to stand up to each other. Like, well, no, you said this, and that's, no, you know, non-destructive ways. Oof, this is really tough. I mean, you know, none of this is easy. I'm not claiming I'm no Jedi with this stuff. There's a spiritual intimacy, and that's kind of like the meaning of life. Like you two are in the same novel. You're in the same story. You kind of agree what's going on this planet, and maybe you share a religion or a spiritual view, but something that's substantive. And finally, there's a recreation intimacy. And then that's sharing recreation, you know, fun, sports. And this is important, leisure, because it actually refills the wells. That can be difficult. I knew a guy who loved going camping, and his wife did not. But they had to find something that they could both refill the wells, and they both liked to compromise. Unfortunately, this guy was like, no. Like, you know, he'd be like, he kept giving suggestions of things he liked, you know. And, you know, she's like, oh, I forget, I suggested this, I suggested that. I'm just going to, you know, let her do what she wants. You know, if she doesn't want to, you know, that's fine. And it's like, well, You can, I don't know, ask her. I don't know. Just ask her. Ask her what she wants, Crazy idea. And the truth is, people go to huge lengths to maintain the illusion of connection. That could be very painful, just working compulsively, taking refuge in the routines, different addictions, to make contact and to the kind of genuine relationship with actual people. It can be difficult. A lot of it has to do with spite, I mean, before you can make that connection, you kind of have to let go of past hurts, And a lot of people are like, well, let's try and make the connection right here now. It's like, no, this person, this guy or girl really hurt me. And absolutely not, I'm not going to make a connection right now, because there's that pain. There's that spite that'll kind of prevent it, I'm told by people a lot wiser than me that love is really not a relationship to a specific person. It's an attitude. Curious what you guys think of that. I mean, again, I'm no spiritual guru, but people I really respect, psychologists, that have told me this, and it makes sense. It's more like a habit of way of being in the world, presenting yourself to the world, taking the world in. How do you receive the world? How do you receive people? As annoyances? As things that diminish you? And if you only love one person and are indifferent to everything else, usually that's a sign of symbiotic attachment. It's more or less an enlarged egoism. Like, this person's kind of like part of me, this person exists to meet my needs, and that's I've seen men that are just like that. Their women are just part of themselves, and when the women have children, the men have terrible relationships with the children, and the sex dries up. Why? Because that's huge. That's huge. If a woman's sex drive dies up, how are you with your kids? Like, that's the first question I ask. Like, how are you with your kids? Do you have a good relationship with your kids? Because that's part of intimacy. It's not just that one thing, that one person. It's more exclusive. And intimacy is so huge. There's so many. So I don't know. Maybe this sexual intimacy is dried up for whatever reason. There's this intimacy, that intimacy. There's so many ways to connect. I mean, the world's not perfect. So these are just some of the things, like I have things figured out, just some things I've been thinking about, and just calling attention to all these different types of intimacy to remind people and to remind myself, So thank you for listening, man.